everybody. Welcome back to the Routine Podcast.
Gymnastics Conversations.
I'm Chelsea.
And I'm Chelsea's mom, Diana.
And we're back for episode 40.
Yay!
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Chelsea. And when you say episode 40, what's really good is that we're back for the new season. Season has started.
Season has started. I can't believe it.
It was great. And Chelsea and I are in two different locations. And so we didn't get the chance to watch meets together. So we haven't had the chance to talk about what we thought about meets. So it ought to be a pretty good show, learning what you thought about and who you were most interested in watching.
Yeah, it's going to be a jam-packed episode. We got stuff from top to bottom.
Including voicemails.
Plural.
I did put an S at the end.
So where should we start?
I think we should start where we always start. Listener comments.
We got a couple of very great comments about Miss Val's interview. A lot of people were very happy with that.
That was a fun interview.
It was. Shazelina tweeted, she said, "Oh my," and then a whole bunch of letters. "I just yelped when I saw the title of your latest episode." And so many people were just saying how great the interview was. And I think both you and I really enjoyed speaking with Miss Val and hearing her advice and just her experience.
Agreed. And you know what? Again, we're going to talk about the meets a little bit later. But when we were watching UCLA, Kathy Johnson-Clark interviewed Miss Val. And again, she started the interview by talking about the retirement. And both ladies got emotional. But for me, I just felt that we were very fortunate to be able to talk to Miss Val, especially with it being such a big year on the heels of winning the national championship. And with her writing the new book, it was really exciting to interview her at such an important time, I think, in her career. I really liked doing that interview.
And then we got so many comments about which top 3 teams do you all think are going to be at NCAA's next year?
Yeah, so just a quick recap. In our last episode, we said that we were going to send out a survey, a Twitter survey, asking folks to put the money where the mouth is. Who do you think is going to win this year in order of the top 3 teams? So is it time for a drum roll, Chelsea?
The results are in. With 54% of the votes, our listener said, first, UCLA, second will be Oklahoma, and third will be Florida.
Wow, 54%?
Yeah, it was kind of a landslide.
Is that different than the coaches poll, or is that the same?
It actually is the exact same as the coaches' preseason poll.
Wow.
Which is interesting.
It is interesting. So that means 54% of our listeners who responded to the survey and the coaches put UCLA as number 1 this year, Oklahoma as number 2, and Florida as number 3.
Yeah. But we also got a lot of comments saying that they believe it's going to be Oklahoma, UCLA, Florida.
Okay.
So they switch UCLA and Oklahoma.
And you know, we haven't said what we think yet, right?
I know. Do you want to go first?
Do I have to say what I want to happen or what I think's going to happen?
I think we start with what you think is going to happen and then what you want to happen.
Okay. I think it's going to be a spoiler, and I think it's going to be Florida.
Really?
I do. I think Florida and their new freshmen, that they're going to kind of surprise everybody. And then I think it's going to be Oklahoma. And then I think it's going to be UCLA.
Interesting. I keep going back and forth between my 1 and 2. I think Florida's going to be in third. And I think UCLA is going to be first. And Oklahoma's going to be second. It's hard, though.
So you went with the 54% and the coaches.
Yeah, I am. Not because I'm a follower, though. That's actually what I think is going to happen. And not just because I'm a UCLA fan.
Okay. So now can we say what we want to happen?
Yes.
You'd say the same thing, right?
No. I would want it to be number 1, UCLA, because it's Miss Val's last year. Duh. Number 2, I want Florida because I want them to come back really strong this year and just prove everybody wrong. And number 3, I want LSU because they're LSU.
Which is why I want them number 1. It's Dee Dee's time.
I
It is
know.
so Dee Dee's time. And it's Sarah
Sarah.
Finnegan.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say who I would want to win, it would be between UCLA and LSU. Just because, like, geez, just give Dee Dee, like, what she deserves. Did you see that she's now the longest coaching coach in the SEC out of all the sports?
Yes. When I was watching it, I'm like, it's so Dee Dee's turn.
I know.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at.
A lot of people said that because Oklahoma, it was such a tight margin last year that they think that that really let them to really go after it this year, which I can totally see.
I can too.
And after watching the meet on Saturday, like, it probably is likely that they might win.
Yeah. It only takes losing like that one time.
Yeah, definitely.
Was it 2/1000ths of a point or something crazy like that? But I think no matter what we heard from our listeners, what we've heard from the coaches, and what we saw this weekend, it's going to be a great season.
Yeah, not even in terms of who's going to win, but even just from watching the first meet this season, the improvements that you see in some teams already, the competition level that you see in teams that you wouldn't really expect to be as competitive as they are, the teams are just continuing to push each other, which is great to see as a fan.
Agreed. A lot of great comments, a lot of people involved, engaged, and sending tweets about their teams, and let's see what happens.
Yeah. Thank you all for voting. You know, I love my Twitter polls, so thank you for giving me your opinion. It's greatly appreciated.
And speaking of things we love, we have a voicemail.
Hey, Chelsea and Diana, this is Erky, your resident UCLA fan. Just want to make 3 quick points. First of all, really excited that Kyla Ross has a 10 start value on the vault now. She totally nailed it, got a 9975. Also want to shout out Gracie Kramer on the floor. Her routine is just insane and nuts in the best possible way. And then the third UCLA shout I want to give is not to a gymnast or a coach, but to their videographer, Deanna Hong. She made this awesome intro video that they showed on the Jumbotron. Hopefully it'll end up on YouTube pretty soon. Anyway, I love leaving voicemails because I know you guys like them. So either your listeners are going to have to keep hearing me talk about UCLA, or hopefully it'll encourage other people to call in and leave voicemails about their team. Either way, it's a win-win for the Routine Podcast. Signing off, Erky, UCLA fan. You already know.
That's perfect.
Erky coming in clutch again with the voicemail.
And not only that, he's putting the challenge to our listeners.
Right? I like the challenge because I'm sure we have some Oklahoma fans or some Florida fans that are really sick of hearing about UCLA.
So there's the challenge. And, you know, I think his voicemail goes right into our meet recaps. Do we want to start with UCLA?
I think we should. Yeah, I think that was one of the most talked about meets of the weekend. It was Nebraska at UCLA. There were a couple of highlights that I had. What was something that stood out to you, Mom?
Oh, there's a lot. I know you're going to talk about Kyla, so I'm not going to talk about that. I think, can I start with Nebraska? I think watching Sienna Krause and Taylor Houchin, what a dynamic duo. And I think that we've got to give a shout out to Nebraska's freshmen. I mean, they performed. First meet of the season at Pauley Pavilion, they did wonderfully.
I'm going to add to your duo and add Megan Schweinhofer in addition to Sienna and Taylor, because usually they're kind of like the 3 anchors on all 4 events because they're all 3 all-rounders, and they all make big impacts on the team, and they all have beautiful gymnastics that is all like technically perfect, which I really enjoy. And going off of your freshman, De Jesus, she seems like a freshman that will definitely have a great impact on the team. And interesting enough, at Press Handstand actually tweeted us saying that she initially verbally committed to Maryland, and then she changed her commitment to Nebraska.
Well, there was a couple of interesting facts. The commentators that she competed at the Y and was a volleyball player.
Yeah, so she's like a legit athlete.
And now she's doing triple fulls on floor.
I know.
I obviously love triple fulls like you do. And I try to watch them as carefully as you taught me to watch them in terms of watching the technique. And as far as my little untrained eyes, it looks like a really good triple full.
Yeah, it seems pretty easy for her.
I think Nebraska, they were great just because I think we weren't expecting that. So they were fun to watch.
I'm going to bounce back to what you said, how I'm going to talk about Kyla, but I'm going to talk about Kyla real quick. For 1.5, her first time competing at 1.5, and she stuck it cold.
It was beautiful.
I wish you were there whenever I saw that. Like, I literally screamed out loud. And then watching her jump up and down and smile and hug her teammates, like, nobody dislikes Kyla Ross.
Yeah, agreed. Although, like you said, watching her land her vault was very special. I feel that way when she finishes her last pass on floor.
I know. I think Jordan does too. Well, the last thing I think we should talk about is Caitlin Ohashi's floor routine. I love the floor routine. It's jam-packed. There's so many different moves in there. And like Ms. Val said, there is a lot of different music changes, but Kate keeps up with it. And again, that's another routine that's just going to keep getting better and better the more she does it. So,
and did you like it better than the Michael Jackson routine?
I think I will like it better because there's just so many different moves to it.
So that's UCLA. We probably should move on, right? So LSU, can we do them next?
Yeah.
LSU competed against Cal. I think we got to give a shout out to obviously the seniors, Lexi, McKenna, and Sarah, but I think we also have to give a shout out to the sophomores, who I think are going to be really important to the lineup for LSU.
I agree. This looked like our early season meet. They just didn't seem as comfortable as they normally do, but I can definitely see potential there. But I think Cal really showed out this meet.
They did.
Especially since it was the first meet of the season. They came to play, and I think they did really well. Do you have a favorite routine from them? Actually, I shouldn't even ask you. Sarah Finnegan.
Yeah. Do you see her new floor routine?
I know. I really, really like her floor routine.
Well, and the thing about her floor routine this year is that I loved her floor routine last year, right? And you wouldn't think that it could have gotten better.
But it is.
It is.
And she looks comfortable performing it, which I really like. I think Sarah, she's ready for her senior year.
When you talk about Kyla and how everybody loves Kyla, I think people feel the same way about Sarah.
I think so too. So that was a good meet. Hopefully LSU can start building, got all the jitters out of the way.
Yep, agreed.
I watched a couple of other meets. I was able to watch some of the Ohio State versus Georgia meet. And wow, Georgia is a whole new team.
They are, Chels.
Mom, you would be so proud.
I didn't get the chance to watch. And so what made them so good this year that you saw in this first meet?
They have a vault lineup, a full lineup.
They do?
Yeah.
Before you get there, how did Courtney look?
For just delivering a baby, Courtney looks fantastic. And I'm not kidding when I say this. She literally just had a baby less than a month ago. She looks really good.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And she's fully committed to coaching. Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
And I know she's excited about this team that she has.
That's so good. So deserved too.
I know. I'm pulling for Georgia.
Me too.
Another meet that I watched a little bit of was Iowa at Auburn. Auburn, they ended on floor, which was not great, but I can definitely see some great spots for them. I think a highlight for Auburn is definitely their vault rotation. They have a lot of 10-0 vaults, which is awesome for them. It just shows how competitive they are. So hopefully Auburn, again, like LSU, getting the jitters out of the way, because I'm sure it's not what will happen for the rest of the season.
It's the first meet of the year.
Right. And then the last one that I saw was Oklahoma at Arkansas.
Kind of saved the best for last, didn't we?
Yeah.
Maggie
got a 10-0 in the first meet of the season. What do you expect?
Oh, that's another person. Everybody loves Maggie.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very, very true. And then also, Brenna did all around for the first time in her career as a senior.
Didn't you love that? I love Brenna too.
Brenna is like about her business.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Brenna is she's often overshadowed because of Maggie. If she wasn't at the same school that Maggie was at, you'd be hearing nothing but about Brenna. But she, just like you said, she's got this kind of quiet confidence that just does her thing. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So now she's ranked for the first time in the all-around. Good job, Brenna. Keep going for it.
Absolutely.
Another team that I want to mention really quickly is the University of Michigan. They competed in Cancun this weekend, and their freshman, Natalie, won the all-around. She got a 9975 on vault.
Wow.
Her vault was definitely a 10-0 vault.
What did she do?
A 1.5, and like she stuck it like outright.
Wow.
So she is definitely going to be an all-around contender.
So someone to watch this year.
Definitely.
So Florida didn't compete this weekend, but we did get the chance to talk to 2 new incoming freshmen at the University of Florida. We decided to include these young ladies because Florida has the highest ranked recruiting class of all teams. So we thought that would be a good place to talk to incoming freshmen.
Yes. So a couple of weeks ago, we were able to sit down with Trinity Thomas and Savannah Schoenherr and ask them about what led them to their decision to attend the University of Florida, not only as gymnasts, but as students.
So just a little bit of information about Trinity. She trained at Prestige Gymnastics in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, not that far from us. She was a member of the 2017, 2018, and the 2016, 2017 U.S. Senior National teams. And she finished 8th in the 2018 U.S. Championships in the all-around competition. So clearly an amazing gymnast with a really amazing elite career.
And Savannah Schoenherr, or Sav, as her friends call her, trained at Georgia Elite Gymnastics. And in 2018, she was the JO bars champion and was 2nd in the all-around, 4th on vault, and 6th on beam. And in 2015, she was the JO bars champion and finished 2nd on beam and 6th in the all-around. So she's pretty good at bars. Hi, Savannah.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing great. Do you remember when you first started gymnastics?
I do. I was 4. I started with classes, and shortly after, they asked me to move up to team.
You didn't have to travel that far to choose Florida, right? What made you decide to make that decision?
Just all of the things that they had to offer really didn't compare to any other school. And just the coaching staff here and everything that the University of Florida does for their athletes. It's just a really amazing school, and just how amazing their gymnastics program is. That also was a big factor of me choosing here.
Can you kind of walk through your process for making that decision? What kind of things did you look for, or what advice would you give future gymnasts who are trying to make that decision?
I was actually committed to Auburn before I was committed to Florida. And I committed to Auburn when I was 13 going into my freshman year of high school. And then I decommitted from Auburn and committed to Florida going into my senior year of high school. And I think visiting Auburn versus Florida, even though I committed to both schools, the visits themselves were just a lot different, because when I was young and going into high school versus almost finishing high school, it's just a lot different because you look at different things. Coming visiting Florida, I was focused more on college because it was more real. It was getting closer. And so I was able to focus more on like the school aspect of it and like the classes that I would take and like the academic advising, which is stuff that I really didn't look at when I was committed to Auburn. So, I mean, I guess if I had any advice, not that I don't agree with the young recruiting, but you look at different things when you're older. And I feel like gymnasts would make different decisions when they get older, just because there are a lot of different things that go into choosing a college. Because, I mean, in the end, that your education is what's going to get you through life. And you don't really know that kind of stuff when you're a young teenager. I mean, I was only 13 years old. So, and your gymnastics changes so much over time from the time that you're 13 versus 17, 18.
So you were one of the top gymnasts in your recruiting class. Can you talk a little bit about your transition from club gymnastics to now as a freshman at the University of Florida?
It's a lot different. It's definitely better than I expected. Club gymnastics is amazing, but it it's just so much different. I mean, just the numbers and stuff like that you do in club is completely different from college, because in college you have all your skills and you basically just have to work on like the quality of those skills rather than quantity. So it's like we do so many less numbers, focusing on making sure our body is healthy. Rather in club, it's numbers all the time. And there was no type of treatment or anything. If you wanted to get any type of treatment, you have to go pay for physical therapy, and then you'd only go once or twice a week. And now it's like we get treatment 3 times a day. So that's really helping a lot too. And just the coaches are a lot different too. Because college coaching, they don't tell you as much what to do, because it's like you already know what to do. It's really just focusing on like the minor little details. Yeah, I guess that would just be the biggest difference.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. So if we can just picture this first home meet, what are you thinking? How are you feeling?
So excited. Like, I can't even put my excitement into words. The way that all of the girls have described the feeling of competing in front of thousands of people, unreal to me. I mean, I've never been in front of that big of a crowd before. Just to be able to do that and be with my team when I do it, that's just going to be so much fun, and I'm ready to do it.
And speaking of competition, do you have any individual goals this season?
My individual goals would be to get a 10, to hopefully compete all around a few meets.
Okay, so let's talk about that first 10. What event is it on?
Bars.
Your bars are amazing.
Yeah, you are great at bars.
Thank you.
I think that's going to happen, and I think it's going to happen more than once.
I hope so.
Can't wait to see you, and we wish you the best of luck throughout the season.
Thank you so much.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
We're sitting with Trinity Thomas, who has had an illustrious gymnastics career. So thank you so much for sitting down with us, Trinity.
Of course.
Hi, Trinity. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, we're doing great. We're so glad you could join us. How's that Florida weather?
It's actually beautiful down here.
So, do you remember when you first started gymnastics?
Well, actually, I did cheerleading first, and then got invited to the gymnastics team, and then got invited to the team, but I had to wait till that season was over.
And did you at that point absolutely love gymnastics, or it was just kind of okay?
Oh, I loved it.
What did you love about it?
That it was a challenge, but there was always something new that I could learn.
So talk to us about choosing Florida. What made you decide, besides the weather, what made you decide to go there?
The coaches, the team, the atmosphere. Obviously, the academics are great. Something special about Florida.
So when we talk about academics, it looks like that you're going to be majoring in sports medicine.
Yes.
What do you think you want to do with your sports medicine degree?
I definitely think I want to work with athletes. I just love athletics, and obviously I've been to the doctor quite a few times. So I think that I just kind of have an understanding between athletics and medicine, and I would love to help athletes.
And in terms of your transition from your elite career to your college career, has there been any major changes that you've noticed now that you're a collegiate gymnast?
I think finally having a team behind you, because obviously USA Gymnastics, you're a team, but it's so different here. Your team is there cheering you on. These are my sisters, basically.
And have you had the chance to spend a lot of time making friends outside of the gym?
Yeah, I have some friends outside the gym, and it's cool to meet the other athletes because we all have to go to morning workouts and then our practices, but it's different learning about, oh, your practice is like this and ours is like this. So,
do you have any individual goals for the season?
Of course. I want to get a 10.
Which event for the first 10?
Ooh, I don't know. I would love to have one on each event.
Look at those goals. Well, Trinity, you're an amazing gymnast. Mm-hmm. We can't wait to watch you on the Florida team. We wish you the best success. And here's to that first 10.
Oh, thank you so much.
We'll be cheering for you from Maryland.
Thank you.
All the best.
So again, we wanted to really focus on their decision to choose Florida, and that's what we focused on in this interview. And I think it was funny that they both had the same, when you asked their goals, they had the same goal. And they weren't in the same room when we did the interview, right? They were in two separate rooms. So the fact that their goal for both was to score their first 10, I think was pretty funny.
It's interesting to hear different perspectives from people.
Yeah. And I think it takes us to this next piece, which is, we have a voicemail. That should be a little song, right?
Like how in Blue's Clues, whenever he got mail, he would always do the song.
You remember Blue's Clues?
Yeah.
And your handy dandy notebook?
Yes.
Maybe that's what the music you can put in on this episode.
You know what we should do?
What?
We should call on our little music producer brother and son to you, and he can make a little jingle for us.
That would be great. Every time we have a voicemail.
That would be really cool.
I think that's a great idea.
You have to bring it up to him, though.
I will. When I see him today, I'll bring it up. But nonetheless, we have a voicemail, and I think it actually goes with this episode about recruiting. We had the chance to do an interview as part of our summer series. We had the chance to talk to Hootie Gabishan from Full Out Collegiate Recruiting about all the decisions that are entailed in gymnasts making their decision about college. And she sent us a voicemail.
Hi, Diana and Chelsea. This is Hootie Gabishan from Full Out Collegiate Recruiting. I know how much you enjoy voicemails, so I thought I would leave you one after listening to your podcast about the 2019 coaching changes. Like Chelsea said, it is not uncommon for coaches to move around to different schools. So we at Full Out track those coaching changes, post them on our social media, and create a huge spreadsheet with the coach's new contact information at their new home base.
So that was great. Thanks, Hootie, so much for sending us a voicemail.
Yes. And like she said, Full Out Collegiate Recruiting is a good resource for people that are curious about college gymnastics recruiting.
Yeah, and I think it does go well with Sav's comment about making a decision as a freshman versus making a decision as a senior.
Can you imagine making a decision at 13 years old?
No. Obviously, we make decisions when we're that young because the spots go away. And there are only so many spots that are available for you to choose. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm thinking of the Glenn sisters, right? Where there are twins that want to go to school together. So waiting till their senior year to make that decision is going to be pretty difficult to find. So, yeah. I mean, I understand it.
You know the only solution to that?
I don't.
Have more schools with college gymnastics.
So true.
So that people aren't fighting tooth and nail and making decisions when they're 13.
That's so true.
You can't make an educated decision at 13. There's just no way.
So, again, I think the great part of the interviews is we got the chance to talk to them before they compete. They're really off the point where it's fresh in their minds.
They're not tainted.
No, doe-eyed, excited. Yeah. And that's really why we wanted to do the interview this early.
Yes. So thank you, Savannah and Trinity, for sitting with us. And good luck this season.
And thanks to the University of Florida for coordinating the interviews with us. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
I guess it's time to wrap this show up, Chelsea. We've been talking for a while.
There's just so much to talk about. I think we should do a little preview of the upcoming meets. We get to watch Florida. Woohoo!
Yeah, we get to watch Savannah and Trinity, plus the other new freshmen that are competing.
Plus all of the returning athletes. But I think everyone is anticipating Florida and just to see what they're all about. So on Friday night, Missouri will be at the University of Florida. Also, we have another chance to watch Georgia. They will be at Oklahoma this weekend.
That ought to be fun.
Yes.
And I get to see Courtney.
Yes. And your Fighting Tigers are at the Tigers this weekend.
LSU is at Auburn.
Yes.
So are we going to be watching these meets together, Chelsea?
It depends. You're the one that's like island hopping over here.
I'm coming home.
If you guys like what you are hearing, be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. And as always, continue the conversation with us. You can tweet us at Routine Podcasts, or you can email us at info@theroutinepodcast.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail like Erky said. I'm sure Erky's going to be on top of it, but hopefully one of you guys can beat him to it.
If not, we're just going to keep playing Erky's voicemails.
He's ready.
And the way that you leave us a voicemail is to visit our website, theroutinepodcast.com. Go to the top navigation. You'll see something that says be a part of the conversation. Click that. Scroll down to the bottom of the page. You'll see a microphone. You click the microphone and you leave us a message.
And hopefully everybody enjoys week 2 of NCAA Gymnastics. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.